Hello, friends. Good evening. Today's story, provided by a young girl from our village named Paidalis. Her name, when translated, means cold-blooded, ruthless, strict, and so on. That's roughly the meaning. Because she didn't give me her name, Il just used the name from her contact info. That's how Il referred to her. The story our young lady told happened when I was very young. In my childhood, around 13 or 12 and a half years old. One summer, one day, I woke up around 10 a.m. My parents had already left home. I found a note on the table. It said something like, if I could bring some food and drinks around 2 or 3 p.m. to take to them in the fields. They wouldn't be back today. They would be busy in our fields all day long. I really liked helping my parents with work, so after my parents assigned me this task, I kept it in mind. In the afternoon, I washed a lot of fruit and brought a big pot of water. I even made the water ice cold. Then, carrying a small basket, I headed towards our fields. I remember it very clearly. I must have left around 3 or 4 p.m. for the fields. I arrived at the fields shortly before 4 p.m., but on the way, I had to pass a very peculiar area. This area, my grandparents told me when I was little, was a graveyard for our village from a long, long time ago. Legend has it, some unmarried women and children who died young were all buried in this graveyard. In some cases, if a family was poor, they wouldn't even bury them, just leave the child here. So over time, after a while, and again, this path was rarely used for a long time. But after liberation, the country redistributed land, taking land from landlords and giving it to ordinary farmers like us. As a result, when distributing land, you didn't have much choice. At that time, the village committee directly assigned this piece of land to our family. Back then, my great-grandfather was very unhappy. But it was no use. They didn't listen to that. They just gave it to you like that. Initially, for many years, our family, basically, as soon as it got dark, we wouldn't go through that land. Because my grandfather said, many years ago, there were always red, green, blue, and purple things on the ground at night. It was very scary at night. But as we got later, after the 70 seconds, this situation apparently lessened. By the 80 seconds, because of the road being near the highway, there were more and more big cars on the highway. The ghost lights on the road basically disappeared. So after the late 80 seconds, into the 90 seconds, no one cared about this area anymore. But when I was very young, my grandparents often warned me, don't go play over there. But by this time, I had grown up, over 10 years old. So, my grandparents didn't really mind me much anymore. Also, it was in the afternoon, a daytime. When I walked past here, I did feel a bit uneasy, but not to the point of being scared. So, when I walked through this area, my situation wasn't that tense. I was even quite relaxed. I just strolled along leisurely. But as I was walking, I saw in the distance a small grave mound. These grave mounds are common where I am from, especially in this particular area. At the time, I casually glanced over there. Oh, and I saw, behind the mound, a thick red hemp rope. At first, I thought, what is that? Why is there a hemp rope? Then, looking closer, I realized the rope was moving. It was alive. That's when I understood. It didn't look like a hemp rope. It was a red snake. Honestly, I'd never seen a snake here. I'd heard people say there were snakes, but had never actually seen one. I was quite far from the grave mound then, so I wasn't scared. I continued walking forward. But as I got closer to the grave mound, I started to regret it. The closer I got, the clearer I saw it. I realized this snake was quite large, thick, hiding behind the mound. But when I got close, suddenly, it emerged from behind the mound. It came out. After sticking its head out, I was terrified. This snake, its body wasn't very thick or large, about as thick as a red waistband. Maybe a little thicker, something like that. But its head, emerging from behind, was truly frightening. Its head was like a cobra's head, exceptionally wide. And this snake's eyes were larger than a normal snake's eyes. It shot out from behind the grave mound, staring intently at me. As I am telling you this, my feet didn't stop. Truly, seeing its head was terrifying. By this point, I was very close to the mound. To be honest, I deeply regretted it. But it was too late. The snake just stared at me. I stood there frozen. I couldn't move. But this snake didn't stop, popping out of the grave mound towards me, ready to attack me. My heart was pounding like crazy. I wanted to turn and run, Hangzhou Bank, but when people face threats, they aren't like you'd imagine. They don't just bolt and run. No, my legs wouldn't move. Plus, I am a girl, not a boy. In that moment, I felt like giving up or even collapsing. But when this snake, which was about 7 or 8 meters long, I heard a woman behind me say, "Hey, hey, why aren't you getting away?" I was startled. So I turned my head and saw it was a village simpleton. 2 simpletons. Let me explain in detail. I've known him since childhood. He's about 7 or 8 years older than me. He must have been around 20 then. And I am not exaggerating at all. He couldn't speak. I never heard him speak growing up. And he wasn't just a little slow. I saw him eat filth with my own eyes. What exactly the prince ate, I won't describe, that it was too disgusting. And usually, you had just make strange noises in the village, like, ja, just yelling, never speaking. But today, for some reason, he was standing behind me and tapped my shoulder twice, though he was dirty. And his face was very dirty too. He spoke very clearly. So when I turned my head, I didn't answer him. I just stared at him. Then he said to me again, "Aren't you going to leave? Let's go, come with me." I couldn't worry about that then. After all, he was simple-minded, he was an adult too. So I nodded at him. Let's go. Then he reached out and took my hand and pulled me along. But after we ran about 10 steps, as we ran, I kept looking back. I saw the red snake about to rush at us. I yelled, "Simpleton! Look, the snake's coming. Let's run faster." But at that moment, the simpleton suddenly stopped and turned to tell me, "It's okay, don't be scared. I am here to protect you. Stand behind me." When I heard him say that, I immediately darted behind him, using his body to block the snake. Then the simpleton made a strange gesture with his hand and pointed at the red snake. The red snake then started to glow. The light flashed very quickly, with a poof, and the red snake seemed startled. It turned and fled back towards the grave. I was hiding behind the simpleton then. I was really, really scared. I really didn't expect it. I thought this red snake would circle around and attack us. But I didn't expect the red snake to just leave without looking back. It really just ran away. When I saw the red snake run away, I called out to him from behind, "Let's go quickly." Then as soon as I shouted, Z suddenly turned around and pushed me. Of course, not like a shove, more like he pushed me forward, telling me, "You go. I'll cover for you. Go quickly. Go find your parents." I turned my head at that moment. He didn't even say thank you. It's not that I am rude. I was just too scared and panicked. And at this point, he didn't just tell me to go find my parents. He told me to jump in place 20 times. I would have jumped. My body completely wasn't responding. I was frozen with fear. So when he directed me, I didn't think too much about it. I just ran towards my parents. But after running only about 10 steps, I heard Shazzy calling me from behind. "Xiaoqin, tell your parents about this. I am afraid you'll get sick later." When he called me like that, I stopped in my tracks. I was stunned for about half a second. I didn't reply. Then I continued running towards my parents. As I was running, I kept thinking, I am going to get sick later. I still need to tell my parents about this. What does this mean? But I couldn't worry about that anymore. I ran towards my parents for my life. I was already not far from my parents. After running for about 5 minutes, I reached my parents' field. From a distance, I saw my mom and dad. I ran desperately to their side. I originally wanted to tell them about what just happened, but I didn't. Then I gave the water and fruit to my dad and told them to drink water and eat fruit. My parents didn't notice anything strange about me, but after my dad ate a few bites of fruit, he said to my mom, "Hey, why does our daughter look unwell?" My mom turned and looked at me. "Are you okay? Are you feeling unwell?" If my mom hadn't asked me that, honestly, I wouldn't have felt it. But as soon as she said that, I started to feel a little unwell. I felt dizzy, and my legs felt weak. At that time, I was still trying to be tough and didn't say anything. I said, "It's nothing. It's nothing. I just ran too fast just now." But after saying that, I sat down on a straw mat nearby. But as I sat there, I gradually began to lose consciousness. My last memory was feeling my parents pick me up. After that, I don't remember what happened. My consciousness after that, it seems like it was in a dream. Or rather, it was hazy. A feeling, or my mom was holding me, taking me home. But I can guarantee, I am not sure, because my consciousness at the time was very vague. Only one thing I remember very clearly. During this period of fuzzy memory, there was always a woman in her 50 seconds, talking to me by my side. I couldn't hear what she was saying clearly, but I felt she was very excited. She kept calling me. And this woman was very scary. She was wearing ancient clothes, especially the pair she wore on her feet, 1,000-layered cloth shoes. Few people here dressed like this. To put it bluntly, Kali, this is how people are dressed when they are buried. My impression of her in the dream was so strong because I was afraid of her. Although this period of my memory was fuzzy, Kali, this woman didn't seem to want to harm me. Rather, it felt like in a certain environment, or in my dream, when I was in danger, she was saving me. But I knew in my heart, I absolutely must not pay attention to her, and I must not go with her. If I had gone with her, I would have been finished. And then next, when I completely regained consciousness, according to my dad, it was 6 days later. So I was in a semi-coma for a full 6 days. But later, when I grew up, my parents said that these 6 days were not a simple coma. I could talk. I could even sit up and eat. But the things I said, and even when I was halfway through a meal, I felt out of sorts. What I said, and what I should have said at the time, was completely inconsistent with normal conversation. I just felt like I had gone completely mad. My parents were so worried. They were terrified at the time, especially around the 5th or 6th day. My dad was so scared he cried, "Ah, but guess how I got better?" On the 6th day, my dad was at his wit's end regarding my situation. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do. Holding me in the room, he was very scared. Suddenly, the gate of our yard was kicked open. The one who kicked open our gate was that. At that moment, my mom saw him. "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing at our house?" Because he was an idiot. I hadn't told my mom that he had become smart and recovered normally. So when my mom saw him, she was very annoyed with him. But this idiot completely ignored me and rushed straight into my house. Then he ran into my house and said to my dad, "Let him go. Let him go." My dad was holding me then. My dad was stunned. "What are you doing?" "What?" Then the idiot got very excited and said to my dad again, "Okay, you can hold him. Let me touch his head." Dad had no idea how to respond. He just said to him, "Hey, you can talk now?" See, it's not me who's strange. Even my dad is surprised. How did he suddenly get smart? But just after my dad said this, the idiot ignored my dad and darted up. He grabbed my head with his hand. He managed to grab me this time. My dad was very flustered. "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He pushed the idiot's hand away. But with that push, the idiot didn't fuss. He just withdrew his hand and ran away from my house. But this scene made my parents even more worried about me. What's going on? Why is even an idiot attracted to our daughter? But for some reason, after about an hour, I gradually woke up. The waking up my dad referred to wasn't me being able to move. It was my consciousness gradually returning, including my own memories from that time, gradually becoming clear. Good evening, everyone. This episode I am sharing with you today is related to a dream. Don't be fooled by the title saying a child was taken. The whole thing happened in a dream. But even though it was a dream, the next day, the dream became a coincidence. So, I rarely tell dream stories, but this one is too strange. I can't help but tell you all. And today It's not just one story. There's something else at the end I need to tell you. So please, listen to the end. We don't stop listening after 10 minutes, when my story finishes, and think it's over. Don't just click off, thinking that's it. You'd be wrong. There's another story at the end. The first thing we're talking about today happened in Tianjin. A young lady from Tianjin told me. Her name is Momo. She's from Tianjin, born and raised. She said when she was little, her family lived in a flat. At that time, she said, the incident happened when the entire area near their home was undergoing demolition for redevelopment. During that period, she said that when she went out the door, it was a mess. Everywhere was torn down chaotically. Some houses haven't been found yet. That's Momo's family. They are one of them. But Momo's family isn't a holdout, because the renovation of the new house was a bit delayed. It's dusty and not dry yet. He said they can't move in at all.